So guys, nandito tayo ngayon sa National Museum of Fine Arts sa Manila.
And yes, we're going to talk some most iconic and important artworks sa buong Philippine art history.
And these artworks really shaped our culture and showed the world how talented our Filipino artists are. So, tara na, simulan na natin!
First up, Spolarium by Juan Luna. Ito talaga yung pinaka-highlight ng museum.
Yes, as in sobrang laki niya at sobrang dramatic din. Fun fact guys, nanalo to ng gold medal sa Madrid noong 1884.
Tama. The painting shows falling gladiator. Hinihila papuntang basement under the Colosseum.
Yes, but deeper than that guys, it also symbolizes the struggles of Filipino during colonial times.
Kaya ang bigat ng emotion, you can really feel the pain and struggle.
Yeah, and this masterpiece really sets the tone for the whole museum tour. As in, sobrang laki ng impact na talaga guys. Like, sometimes yung mga turista talaga, yun yung dinarayo nila. Like, yun lang talaga yung pinupunta talaga nila.
Like legit.
So next naman guys, meron tayong Assassination of Governor Bustamante by Felix Hidalgo.
Ito naman, historical painting siya showing the chaotic murder of Governor Bustamante noong 70s.
Like, nakikita mo talaga yung tension guys. May mga guard, may mga priest. Lahat nag-rush. Sobrang gulo ng scene talaga.
It reflects between politics and religious power noon.
Of course, Hidalgo's technique is really amazing. The lighting, the movement, the emotion. Like, para talagang tumigil yung panahon.
Guys, finally, meron tayong Planting Rice by Fernando Amorsolo.
And si Amorsolo is known as the master of Philippine sunlight kasi ang ganda talaga niya gumamit ng light.
This painting shows farmers planting rice under warm sunlight, very faithful and nostalgic.
At pinapakita niya yung simple but hardworking life ng Filipino farmers.
And guys, it represents hope, dedication, and beauty of rural life.
So classic Amorsolo guys, he is optimistic, bright, and very Filipino talaga.
Hey guys!
So that's it guys for our detailed tour dito sa National Museum of Fine Arts.
This painting ay di lang siya tungkol sa artwork, kundi tungkol siya sa history natin, identity, and culture.
Yes guys, so sa mga hindi pa nakakapunta dito, you should visit it since libre lang naman ang entrance fee.
So tara na!
So moving on, balik tayo kay Luna with the Parisian life. Ito, ibang-iba siya from Luna's dark historical paintings. Dito, mas light, elegant, and relaxed. So the painting shows a woman sitting in a cafe in Paris, giving a soft picture of European lifestyle in the late 1800s. But interestingly guys, some people say na may hidden symbolism ito, na the woman represents the Philippines. So whether that's true or not, ang ganda talaga ng vibe ng painting. It shows another side of Luna, kaya niyang mag-capture ng ordinary moments beautifully.
So next artwork, set in progress of medicine in the Philippines by Botong Francisco. Sobrang laki na ito guys. Kasi it's actually 4 mural panels originally made for PGH in 1953. It shows the evolution of medicine in the Philippines from ancient practice healing to modern medicine. That was make it special. Parang visual, timely to our medical history. And Botong style is a very distinct, strong line, dynamic scene, and very Filipino aesthetics guys. These murals are even declared as national cultural treasures. Meaning guys, sobrang historical and culture value niya.
Hi everyone, my name is Jana Reyna Steliaga.
And ako nga pala si Francisco Ardinas.
Ngayon kami nasa Luneta para
Ibahagi ang konting kaalaman about sa history ng Luneta Park. Hi! Alam niyo ba na matagal ng lugar na ito? Mula sa pagiging pagbayan hanggang sa pagiging lugar ng pangpublikong pagbitay noong panahon ng Espanyol. Matagal na ang lugar na ito mula sa pagiging bagong bayan hanggang sa pagiging lugar ng pampublikong pagbitay noong panahon ng Espanyol. At alam niyo ba, dito pinatay si Jose Rizal on December 30, 1896. Pagkapatay ni Jose Rizal, ipinangalan sa kanya ang Luneta Park at itinayo ang monumento ni Rizal. At alam niyo ba, ang monumento ng Rizal, ang pinakasentro ng Luneta Park, at tinayo ito noong December 30, 1913.
Also know that the Rizal Park history began in 1820s when the Paseo de Luneta was completed just south of the wall of Manila on a marshy patch of the land next to the beach during the Spanish rules. It is also considered one of the largest urban park in the Philippines, covering an area of 58 hectares, 140 inches. The site on where the park is situated was originally known as Bagumbayan during the Spanish of colonial period. During the Spanish period from 1823 to 1897, most especially in the latter part, the place became terms for public execution, a total of 158. Political enemies of Spain were executed in the park. On February 17, 1872, three Filipino priests, Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, collectively known as Gamburza, were executed by Garrote, accused of subversion of a rising from 1872.
Prior to the park, the marshal land was the location of a small town called Barrio Nuevo, New Borough or Bagumbayan in Tagalog, that dates back to 1601. The town and its churches, being close to the walled city, were strategically used as cover by the British during their attack. The Spanish authorities anticipated the danger posed by the settlements that immediately surrounded Intramuros in terms of external attacks. Yet, church officials advocated for these villages to remain.
Hi guys! Nandito kami sa pinaka-historical sa Intramuros sa Fort Santiago. And then,
So, ito yung mga...
hi guys! Nandito kami sa pinaka-historical sa Intramuros sa Fort Santiago.
Guys, idiniklara bilang pambansang dambana at pambansang monumento noong 1951 at bilang pambansang pamanang kultura noong 2014.
Ang Fort Santiago ay itinayo noong 1571 pa ng mga Kastila. Isa itong matibay na tanggulan sa nagsilbing proteksyon laban sa mga mananakop at bilang bahagi ng pamamahalan nila sa bansa. And guys, pagkapasok sa Fort Santiago, mapapansin natin agad ang mga lumang walls and pathways. Tsaka imagine, libo-libong tao ang dumaan dito. Soldiers, travelers, and syempre si Jose Rizal. Inside the fort. Before, this area served as a military training ground of Spanish soldiers. Ngayon, it's a peaceful park where people can chill, take photos, or walk around. Ang ganda dito guys, very green, very serene, perfect for a relaxing stroll habang nag-appreciate ng history.
Fort Santiago was built by the Spanish in 1593 to defend the city from foreign invasion and serve as the main stronghold of the government. Fort Santiago, it is a key part of whole city of Intramuros and was played a significant role in the building.
And then, papakita namin sa inyo yung museum, tsaka ground.
Museum na pasara na guys.
Museum at tsaka yung ground. May ground pa kasi eh. Ay, bawal pala mag-video doon, nak.
Guys, tingnan nyo, ang ganda.
The beauty of Fort Santiago. Diba?
Ganda.
Ito na kami sa pinaka ng Fort Santiago. Papakita namin sa inyo kung saan. Papakita namin sa inyo kung saan
Papakita ko
kami
sa inyo yung guys.
pumapasok.
Yung
Ayun, pakita mo yan.
yung statue ni ni Rizal. Yan guys, oh.
Try no kasi Rizal, pwede pa siya pumasok. Statue ni Jose Rizal. Tapos dito naman. Tapos dito, Yan. Diyan naman yung Shrine of Jose Rizal. Diyan yung makikita. Look guys, tignan nyo to. Ayan. Oh, nabasa nyo, hindi kasi baliktad. Pumasok kami sa shrine.
At dito naman tayo sa Rizal Shrine. Dito makikita ang mga old pictures ni Jose Rizal, mga personal items niya, at ibang kagamitan pang kusina. At saka sinasabi sa Intramuros Administration na yung brick barracks na pinanggalingan daw ng museo ngayon ay dating bahagi ng fort noong 16th century. Guys, syempre hindi natin ipapahuli ang Pasig River Esplanade. Alam niyo ba na binibigyang halaga ang ilog bilang bahagi ng pambansang identidad, tulad ng pagpinta ni Rizal sa ilog bilang simbolo ng buhay at lipunan. At hindi lang puro kasaysayan, maganda rin ito, perfect sa photos, relaxation at pag-appreciate ng Old Manila vibe. We're heading to the dungeons, one of the darkest parts of the fort's history. These underground chambers were used to detain prisoners during the Spanish era and later during the Japanese occupation in World War II. Many prisoners suffered here, and some never made it out, kaya medyo eerie ang feeling sa loob. But it's an important reminder of what people went. That's our full Fort Santiago tour. This place is a beautiful blend of nature, architecture, and deep Philippine history. Whether you're a tourist, a student, or someone who just wants to learn more about the past, sulit na sulit ang visit dito.
I got a condo in Manhattan. Baby girl, what's happening? You and your ass invited. So gonna get to clapping. So pop it for me, plan, pop it for me. Turn around and drop it for a plan, drop it for me. The first place I headed to was the biggest gate in Chinatown, Binondo. The Filipino-Chinese Friendship Arc. Habang naglalakad ako guys, kukwentuhan ko kayo about dito sa Binondo history. Binondo, the world's oldest Chinatown, was founded in 1594 by the Spanish colonizers as a permanent settlement for Chinese immigrants who converted to Catholicism. It was established across the Pasig River so the Spanish could keep a close eye on the Chinese Catholic community. Binondo Chinatown is the oldest Chinatown in the world. Binondo Chinatown traces events over time, showing how trade, migration, and historical challenges caused cultural exchange, shaping ideas, traditions, and community identity. Binondo, Manila evolved as a vibrant Chinatown due to trade between Chinese merchants and locals. Over time, economic opportunities fostered cultural exchange, transforming it into a bustling hub where traditions, commerce, and community interconnect, illustrating the cause and effect of migration and entrepreneurship. Binondo today thrives as a cultural and commercial hub, preserving Chinese Filipino heritage while boosting tourism. The Binondo Church, also known as the Minor Basilica of San Lorenzo Ruiz and Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary Parish. Did you know this church was established by Dominican priests in 1596 to serve Chinese converts to Christianity? The original building was destroyed in 1762 due to British bombardment. A new granite church was completed on the same site in 1852. However, it was severely damaged during World War II, with only western facade and octagonal doorway surviving. Binondo Chinatown's culture differed due to Chinese and Filipino influences. Traditions formed through trade, migration, and cultural exchange, while historical events show how communities and nations rise, adapt, and sometimes decline over time. Binondo awaits. Taste legendary food, experience culture, create unforgettable memories. Hello everyone, nandito nga pala tayo sa Antipolo Cathedral para i-discuss ang genetic history nito. Alam nyo ba, it developed traces from a 1632 church to the current 1954 structure, marked by a damage from revolts and earthquakes, followed by reconstruction and its elevation to a national shrine in 1954 and a cathedral in 1983. It intertwined with the revered image of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. It is a story of resilience and increasing religious significance. The central idea has always been the veneration of the 17th century wooden image of the Blessed Virgin Mary, known as the Nuestra Señora de la Paz y Buen Viaje, Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. The image accompanied Governor General Juan Niño de Tabora from Mexico to the Philippines in 1626, and its safe arrival and subsequent successful voyages of the Manila-Acapulco galleons fostered the belief in its miraculous protection. In 16th and 17th century, the initial idea was to establish a mission church by the Franciscan and later the Jesuit to evangelize the local indigenous people. The arrival of the miraculous image shifted the focus, and the church became a practical and spiritual beacon of protection and safe passage for seafarers and travelers during the galleon trade era. In 1980s, the rebuilding process after the war solidified the idea of resilience and national unity in faith. Its declaration as a national shrine in 1954 positioned it as a central hub for Filipino Catholic identity. The creation of the Diocese of Antipolo in 1983 elevated the church to a cathedral, integrating the idea of it being the seat of local ecclesiastical authority while maintaining its pilgrimage status. In the present, the Antipolo Cathedral now represents the intersection of faith and culture.
She was a bad girl, nevertheless. Calling it quits now, baby, I'm a wreck. Crash at my place, baby, I'm a wreck. Needless to say, I'm keeping a check.
Papakilala ko muna ang Intramuros. Ano nga ba ang Intramuros? Ang ibig sabihin ng Intramuros ay within the walls at isa ito sa pinakamatandang lugar sa loob ng Maynila. Ngayon dadako tayo sa early history and Spanish colonization kung saan ito ay naganap noong 1571 hanggat 1800s. Sa 1571, pagkatapos nilang matalo ang Muslim settlement of Maynilad na pinamunuan ni Ra Sulaiman, Spanish conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, itinayo niya ang Maynila as capital of the Spanish East Indies. Ngayon, yung mga Spaniards, bumuo sila ng stone walls, moats, at syempre mga gates para maprotektahan yung city sa mga invaders at sa mga dumadaming lokal, tumataas na lokal. Intramuros became the political, educational, and religious center of the colony. Isa na dito ang Fort Santiago na military fortress, Manila Cathedral, San Agustin Church na ngayon tinatawag na UNESCO World Heritage. At syempre, di rin dito mawawala yung pinakaunang university and convent. Ngayon, pupunta naman tayo sa American period kung saan nangyari ito noong 1898 hanggat 1941. Tapos ang Spanish and American War, ang mga Amerikano ay introduce ang modern infrastructure and demolish some walls for transportation. Halimbawa na lang yung mga entrance. Syempre, dito rin papasok sa topic natin sa Intramuros ang World War II kung saan naganap ang The Battle of Maynila noong February hanggat March 1945 kung saan talagang nasira ang Intramuros at maraming tao ang napahamak. Makikita nyo dito sa picture na ginawa ng memorial ang bawat isang inosente na nadamay sa gera. At alam nyo ba, sa pangyayaring yun, kaisa-isang building lang or gusali ang natira at yun ang San Agustin Church. Makikita dito na intact pa at ang mga nasa paligid ay nagkanda sira-sira na. Siyempre, pagkatapos ng gera, nandito na yung post-war reconstruction and revival na naganap noong 1945 1950s. For decades, Intramuros remained ruins. Intramuros administration created in 1971 and began systematic restoration efforts. Dito na ulit nireconstruct yung mga pader, yung mga gates, pati yung mga buildings na nakikita nyo ngayon. Sa ngayon, Intramuros ay isa sa major cultural destination. Maraming mga Amerikano na pumupunta para malaman yung history. Pag pumunta kayo sa Intramuros, mapapansin nyo maraming mga foreigners, hindi lang mga Americans. Meron din mga Japanese para malaman nila at makita nila ang nangyari noon sa Intramuros. Dito rin makikita nyo yung mga museums, mga nabanggit ko nga na walls and bastions, at syempre mga heritage churches and plazas. Marami na rin mga estudyante na gumagamit dito for educational institutions and cultural events. Sa ngayon, ang Intramuros ay nagsesenyalis na o nagsisimbolo ng Spanish colonial heritage ng Pilipinas. Andito ito rin yung memorial wartime na distraction at syempre kahit na nangyari ito sa ating mga Filipino, naging resilient tayo at bumangon. So yun, sana marami kayong natutunan tungkol sa Intramuros at maging aral ito na kahit anong mangyari ay kailangan pa rin nating lumaban at bumangon. Ito ay nagsisimbolo ng resilience at kung saan kilala ang mga Pilipino sa pagiging matatag kahit anumang mangyari na gera. Yun lang and maraming salamat.